Hey everybody, Breakthrough Health and Life Coach Glenn Hattem here. I'm here with my good friend, former client, Jack Gindi. You can say hi to everybody, Jack.
Hey there, everyone. Good to be
Uh,
with you today, Glenn.
yeah, it feels great. I'm here in Boulder, Colorado. Jack, you're in Mexico right now.
I'm in actually Nueva Vallarta is
Nueva
where I am.
Vallarta.
Yeah, that's where I am. And you see this background I'm in is in one of my bedrooms because I have work going on in my house over here. So I wanted to get to a quiet place. If I take you outside, all we'll hear is the ocean.
And it's one of my favorite places, by the way. I remember just getting on airplanes, coming there, leaving the early morning. We're on a beach at 11, leaving Colorado, I think one time we walked, it was just freezing cold winter, I mean, we left too late. and then, one of my happy places is always driving your golf cart around town and eating fish tacos. Got a beach to run right there, baby turtles to release into the ocean. You got everything you need. You got everything you need. So great spot.
Still got that bright orange golf cart that takes me around.
Yes.
Still have it.
So let's talk a little bit about like how someone like yourself is, in my view, not just living the lifestyle, but really living his dreams. Really, I often like to say you're grabbing the bull by the horns and like really going for it in life. And you really seem to roll the dice in a very calculated fashion. And so there's a sensibility with how you go big and really big in life. And it's very inspiring. And it also sets me free to do that by just being in your presence or in our conversations. And I know, when we first met, gosh, how long ago do we meet, Jack? It was like,
oh my God, it's got to be at least 10 years now, right?
I feel like it might even be more than that. So
It might be more. Yeah, it's a while ago. Let's see, it's 2022. I met you when I was going through some really rough time in my life, actually. Right? Was it just at the time of bankruptcy, or was it before that?
It might have been just coming out. I was an ambassador to the Boulder Chamber. We were meeting up at Chautauqua for a lunch of an event, I think.
Right. And I needed to get back in shape. I've been wanting to get back in shape. I meet this great trainer that I think is going to do this. And he wrote this book, Get It Back. And he orders the big fat fucking cheeseburger. Fries.
Who is this guy?
I'm going, how is this guy in this shape eating this food?
Yeah.
And I order a salad.
Well, it's brilliant marketing back then. So
really, it's hysterical.
Yeah. I think I had flowing hair back then too. So so we met and I guess back in that time period, you were going through some really hard stuff, and it was like, how do we get the body and the mind right and empowered again? And this was us doing our work before I started working with all your boys and wife and everything. And like we were just like, what does Jack need right now to navigate some just crazy, I hadn't been through a bankruptcy yet. I went through mine years later, and I might have more compassion, back then than I do now. But going through, the psychological warfare that happens with one when they go through a bankruptcy, until they go through it and they're like, oh, this thing's a great idea.
Let me address something that you said earlier, and like you think I lived the life of, I lived this dream, and it's a very calculated dream. I do right now. I believe. I mean, I'm living my dream life. I am truly living my dream life, and I'm finally doing stuff now that I've been thinking about for over 40 years, which is to share my story, which is to teach people like yourself, and which is to share something I learned 40 years ago when I was in my early 20s in LifeSpring, which back then, I mean, I still have it on my calendar today. I call it be, do, have, become it, do it, have it, and then you should have it. So when I say be it, become it, it's whatever the reason it looks to you so easy, or I manifest these things, is because I actually live whatever it is that I wanted to be. So if I was, back in my 20s where I learned this, I wish I knew than what I actually know now through
Right.
practice of doing that. I learned the concept, but I couldn't fulfill this dream that I'm fulfilling now, which is to share and teach it. But back then I wanted to do it. Back in my 20s, and actually LifeSpring had offered me a job to go work for them as a trainer inside of their program. But their offer to me monetarily was so low, I couldn't do it. And I had 2 kids, and my wife was pregnant with a third, and it would mean traveling 5 days a week. So there was no way I was going to do stuff like that back
Yeah.
then. Fast forward to today, where I am at 65, money is no longer an object, an issue. I have enough money to live and survive, and now I can do it for the joy of doing it, which is a great place to be. So, yeah, it's living the life of your dreams, because now I can do stuff, just for the fun of doing stuff.
Yeah. And
And when
so,
you have this,
so Jack, how can one acknowledge, along their journey, if you can go back and talk to that 20-year-old you, that's like, I'm doing what I need to do, I'm handling what I need to handle, I'm still finding success in life, but there's
right,
things that are like parked. And so maybe share a little bit about, I like to even go further back and talk a little bit about your upbringing, what kind of kid you were growing up. Were you I like to often ask, like, were you the straight A student, or were you the rebel? Were you the clever one that didn't bide with authority? Did you try to beat the system? What was your mentality as a youngster? And what were some of the messages you were receiving as a young individual that kind of set you on a certain trajectory? And then let's talk a little about what are some of the events and some of the activities you've engaged in from a business professional and family side throughout life. That would be really
yeah,
helpful. And we'll get right back to where we're at today here and what you're up to.
okay. I think as a child, I was a little bit of a person that was always about doing things my way. I always created stuff, in my world that I wanted, and made them happen. It was about, so I guess I knew be do have before I even knew I knew it,
Yeah.
because that's how I lived as a kid. I dropped out of school when I was 15 years old. I mean, so I was self-taught. My dad took me out of school, put me to work with him in a little novelty shop in New York when
Mhm.
I was 14, I think it was. I was just ending 9th grade. I never even started 10th grade when I was pulled out of school, and made to go to work with my dad every day in his store. And for some reason, I had a gift of listening and hearing what they wanted. So when my dad would take me shopping to trade shows, I'd be able to, I'd say, hey, Dad, I think we should buy these glasses over here, or I think we should buy that mirror or that fan up there, and we can sell those items in our little novelty shop. And he'd indulge me, and we'd buy one of this and one of those, and sure enough, it would always sell. And lo and behold, what I learned is I had a knack, or I had an ability to create whatever I wanted to, and trusted myself, because we took this 700 square foot store and turned it into a 10,000 square foot store in a matter of years, because I just was able to understand people and what they wanted. I remember sitting one day, and this was what the catalyst was for me to sell my business and move to Colorado. One of the catalysts was, I remember standing there holding a vase. It was like $100 item, and that was a big sale for us for the kind of items that we sold. And I sold it to this customer who came in and really wasn't looking to buy it, but she ended up buying the vase, or maybe she was. I guess she was, because she bought it.
Right.
But I remember saying to myself, I'm wasting my time. There's something greater, there's something better for me to do than just selling a vase to a lady for $100. I'm wasting my time. There's a bigger picture out there. And within a matter of years, just with 2 years, I took a trip. That was back in 1992. I had taken a trip to Vail on a ski vacation in 92. By 94, I was out of the retail business in New York. I moved my family to Colorado, had no idea. I shouldn't say I had no idea. I opened up a little business with my sister Francine, a little novelty, not novelty shop, a pizzeria. We were going to open up a chain of pita pocket sandwich stores, healthy food in Boulder, Colorado. And we opened up 2 of them, long story short, but that's taking me in another direction. But I didn't really have a path of where it would lead, where I was going to go and really make my name in the world. I just trusted myself. I let the universe, if you will, take me on this journey. And as long as I stayed in action, in motion, I felt confident that I'm going to achieve some goal. Yeah, I feel right now is a good time to talk about what I'm doing, about the class that I'm teaching. It's just, so I teach this class on what we call thoughts become things, the law of attraction, what we think about, we bring about. And and it's about having the thought to get your end result, having the thought to get to where you want to go, but let the universe, let God, let who God is for you within yourself, let the universe provide the hows. Don't worry about how it's going to happen.
Right.
Just keep yourself in motion, keep yourself in gear, and things will happen. So thoughts in alignment with our beliefs and the actions that we take are going to get you the results that you want. You're going to make shit happen. And when it's good stuff that you make happen, it reinforces those beliefs and leads to new good thoughts that are in alignment with those beliefs, and more action steps are taken. And before you know it, you've got what you want in abundance in your life. Here's what happens to a lot of people when bad shit happens. When bad shit happens, a lot of people form these new beliefs that are, I'm not good enough, I'll never have enough money, I'm not smart enough, I'm afraid, people won't like me. I mean, you name it, all the shit beliefs that you can happen. And when you get those kinds of beliefs, what happens is people get stuck. They sit on the couch all day. They drink like I did for those times before I met you, and get fat and get, like we just do nothing. We get stuck. Although I knew this, I'm still capable of that happening to me today. And every day I have to tell myself, flip the switch. And as you know, Glenn, I'm in the middle of writing this book called Flip the Switch. And flip the switch simply means...
Hang on a second. I got a picture of that. I have those fat pictures still in a vault. But do you got a couple pictures that you could throw up in your background?
I do. So you have the fat pictures, and I'm going to show this is me.
There's a transformation. Now, what happens in one's mind to decide like enough's enough? Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Yep, that's me just 2 years ago.
Yeah. So when one wants to flip the switch, so going back to flipping the switch, because I often talk about this with clients about you've got to flip that switch. If you don't flip that switch, you're not going to have the commitment to do the work, and you're not going to have the as we often call it the effing work. But the hardest part, once you get, I even use the phrase kind of one done fun. It's like, once you get this part where it's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be successful with this, I'm going to complete this, and I'm going to have a good time in the process with it. I'm going to trust the process. It's like the hard part's over. The hard part's over.
Yeah. It's flipping the switch. Yeah. Flipping the switch is just, I got distracted for a second, so I apologize. I missed the last thing you said, but I wanted to bring a point about how you flip the switch. And is that what you were just describing?
Yeah, well, I just think that part is like the most important part. And right. once that's done, it's the hardest part. But once it's done, it's the rest of the journey is actually easier. It's cake.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because then you're back in the right frame of mind. Once you flip the switch, you're energized again. So flipping the switch is, how do you create new positive thoughts again that rebuild new beliefs, which perpetuate new actions, which perpetuate new results and reinforce the new beliefs, which then gets the train moving down the path of the track. So there's an acronym I just heard actually this morning, And I've heard things like, when you have a bad thought, when you have these negative beliefs, there's this guy that I work with, Andy Dooley, that told me this thing called, um, um, uh, oh shoot,
That's all right.
yeah, I can't think of it, but I'll come back to it. But the one I heard this morning was just stop. So it was stop, S-T-O-P,
Okay.
stop.
Stop.
The acronym stop, just stop for a moment. Then it was take a breath. Okay, absorb, take a breath, absorb what's happening for you. Okay, absorb it and
Okay.
own it. Okay, so take a breath and own where you are, own the reality. Take in that where I am today is a result of the action steps that I took in the past. For me, you have to own it before you can move forward. And then the O, so that was S-T, stop, take a breath. O, observe. Observe what's going on around you. Look at the options. Is this working for me? Can I do it differently? Can I, take a look at what really is out there. So if a crushing thing happens to you, like what happened to me, and I went into bankruptcy, which I owned from the action steps that I took. In order for me to get out of bankruptcy, I had to keep a cool head. I had to look at all of my options. So maybe O can be options instead of observe. I actually like that better. So we'll call it S, stop, take a breath. And what are my options? Okay. I have lots of different options. And then proceed, take a path. Don't just sit there, because if I sit there on the couch sitting and getting fat and drinking all day, nothing's going to happen. But if I take an action step, if I proceed and move forward, I'm going to, with that new observation, that new thing that I just took, that new, outlook that I can have with it. Another good word for the O, outlook. We can have a new outlook, as to what is possible. Then you got to proceed and then take the action steps, and you'll have a new result.
Do you think also part of the magic of that piece there, before one proceeds with action, is you're taking yourself to a different angle of the fresh place you're looking at it from? Is actually you're taking yourself to an angle where I don't have to choose suffering and struggle and strife in relationship to the thing. I mean, I'm operating with not just with the situation, but with myself, with a level of detached compassion. And in that, it's like, oh, I can be in a storm right now and I'm calm, I'm grounded,
Yeah.
I'm free,
Right.
And it's going to be okay.
That's right. The storm is there. That's right. The bankruptcy for me was there. That's a reality, and I can blame everyone in the world that I wanted to for it. I can blame the banks for what they did. I can blame my ex-partner for what he did. I can blame I can blame anyone, but that truly never was able to move me forward if I stayed there
Gets you
until
more
I owned
sticky,
it.
right? Gets you more stuck. It gets you more
Yeah,
sticky and
yeah,
stuck, and
yep,
and also
absolutely.
giving your power away. You're actually giving
Yeah,
power and energy, not just resentment
right.
but you're breaking up the self-trust that
Yep.
I can resolve this.
And with ownership comes power, because now I can control it. If I own that I got myself into it, I own that I can get myself out of it. There's you do that same thing.
Mhm.
And there's a piece that I feel like I need to add to this also. It's belief. You got to have faith. You got to have trust and belief in the power of the universe will work for you, as long as you keep having faith and knowing that the result is going to come. And you got to keep moving forward until that desired result comes. It comes to mind. I think I heard this story this way that this was told, and it was about how water boils, I think, at 212 degrees,
Mhm.
but not at 211 degrees. It has to hit 212 degrees. So imagine if you're trying to move forward and do something in your life, and you get to that point where you get discouraged and you don't know yet that the next step, the next 1 degree, you went 99% of the way, but that 1 degree more was going to get you the result you wanted. Imagine if water decided, I'm going to stop boiling right now. I'm never going to get to 212 because here I am at 200. I don't know that 212 is it. I'm boiling the water, but it's up to 211. I'm going, I can't get the water to boil, and you shut it off. And all it needed to do was stay a second longer to get to 212, and it would have boiled. The same thing in life.
How often have you done that in life to learn this lesson? Like where you've been like, oh my gosh, I could have if I just hung in there a little longer and grinded, persevered. I know I've had experiences in my life where things I've done from my organic energy bar business that I, bailed out on at a certain point, and they were the best tasting bars on the planet, but the planet didn't get to taste them.
Right. But we bail out, right?
Bail out.
We bail out, and we don't know how far it would have gone. I can name endless times I've done that in my life. And I know that all the times where I didn't give up and didn't give in, I'm at where I'm at today. Just like what I'm doing right now. I'm living it right now. I'm starting a whole new career at 65 years old, or I'm bringing back, I think, the life into me, because I get excited about it and passionate about what I'm talking about and teaching. And it just, if I can teach it and impart it on guys like you at your age and in their 30s, and just what kind of world would we be living in if people came from that place? If people understood the magic and the power of that, we are here, all of us are here to help each other, to serve each other. When you think about every career in life, every career is in service of someone else. What career can you think of that people who do what they do are not in service for someone else? Can you think of any? I couldn't.
Yeah, maybe some of our politicians.
No, well, politicians believe they're in service for the others around them within their own pocket. They're in service to those people. They're not in service to us. Okay.
Right, to somebody else's pockets, right?
But they're serving themselves.
Yeah.
In other words, they're helping each other. They're in service to someone.
Well, let's talk
about
about
every teacher, the garbage man, the guy who produces paper, the people who are on TV or radio, the housekeeper I have here, anything we do. You are in service to other people. I'm in service to other people. And when we can embrace being in service and bring value to the people that we want to bring value to, you will never fail in life if you continue to do that. Never.
in fact, when we get off track from our degree of service, we're here to be used up, and I always kind of like the saying, when someone knocks on my door, I'm here to be used up fully. It's like, it's my turn. Now let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of, we talked about retail, but talk about some of the other types of services that you've been involved with throughout your career, and maybe there's some nuggets of wisdom there as well along the journey to get to a place where you're doing it, you're living it all out. But my experience has always been you play full out in anything we engage with. So whether whatever.
Well, so when I moved to Colorado, I got involved in the restaurant business, and I embraced it fully. And within a year, we went from opening up the two restaurants that we had, one on Pearl Street, one on the Hill. And then we ended up saying, okay, people really like our product and like our food. But the hard part was we only had these two locations and getting them in. Is there a bigger way that we can sell our food? And we said, okay, let's try to get into the university, actually into the university commissary, get into HP and IBM and all the hospitals and all the places that were around. How do we service those? And so we went and we opened up a commissary, a kitchen, a commercial kitchen. We rented a space. We built out this, 5,000 square foot, I can't remember the size of it, commercial kitchen with built-in freezers and fridges. And we started selling the university, the hospitals, all the different commissaries around town, even gas stations. We even put out product in gas stations. And then supermarkets. We came up with product for the supermarkets. And there was a little salsa company in Boulder that a friend of mine was operating, but she hit a wall and said, you know what, Jack, with what you're doing, maybe this is a good fit for you to buy us and take it and see what you can do and run with it. And we did. So we bought it. It was called Zilla's Salsa, Zilla. It's no longer around. Subsequently, I gave up. It was one of those where I didn't go to 212. I went only to 211 because I didn't, at the time, I think I was too tired. I was waking up every morning at 3 or 4 in the morning. I used to tell my wife, I feel like that guy on that commercial. I gotta wake up to make the donuts. I don't know if you remember, it was a Dunkin'
I
Donuts.
think I remember the
commercial.
Dunkin' Donuts.
I gotta wake up. I gotta make the donuts or something. That's what I would say to her every morning and laugh as I'm leaving the house at 4 in the morning to go deliver, because I was delivering. I picked up our truck and actually loaded it in the morning from the fridge and took it to all these places as we were starting out, making $200 a week. It was like I couldn't feed a family of 4 and live in Boulder, Colorado.
Nope.
$200.
No.
It wasn't going to happen.
Not even back then. So
No, not even in 94, it was not happening.
no.
And so there was no way that again, it was finances that made me walk away from that business. Made me say to myself, my sister, you need to run with this. And I found a path in real estate that I wanted to pursue. I met a guy by the name of Shimon in Boulder, and he and I we became good friends, his family and my family. And I loved what Shimon was doing in the real estate world, and made him an offer to actually buy into his properties. He owned a bunch of properties around Boulder. And he said, before you do that, Jack, why don't you go get a license and come work with me? So 3 months later, I knock on his door. Shimon, here's my license. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. And so I hung my license under his. And I remember going to the office that he was in. It was in Boulder. The tallest building there is a 14-story building. And he had an office that faced west on this tall, facing the Flatirons. It was a beautiful, beautiful place. And I went up into the office, and I see everybody up there working, and everyone's dressed like I'm dressed now, in shorts and a t-shirt or whatever. But they're working in their business and doing stuff. But there was this one office that he had that was like, it was beautiful. And I don't know why it was unused at the time, but it faced the Flatirons. And I said, that's the office I want, Shimon. And he says, well, that office, you can have it, but it's going to cost $2,000 a month. And this was in 96. It was $2,000 a month to rent the office. And I said, I'll do it. I said, I'll take it. He said, you don't even have any income yet. You just hung your license. I said, I'll take it. I need that around me. I need to live the life of a successful real estate broker to be a successful real estate broker. And the next day I showed up in a suit and tie in my office in Boulder as a successful real estate broker. I became it. I didn't wait for it to happen.
Right.
I lived it. I became it now. So when I say to you, with the be, do, have, become it, you have to live as if it was true already. And so I rented the $2,000 office with no idea how I'm going to do my first deal. I went dressed in a suit and tie when everybody else around me was in t-shirts and shorts. And to me, to be a successful real estate person, you don't come to work in shorts and a t-shirt. Not in my world, not in my head, at least. It didn't work that way. So sure enough, I'm going to make a real long story very short. That first year, I made probably a little over $500,000.
Shit.
I closed, I don't know how many millions in terms of transactions. My first sale was a house, but after I sold that one house, I never sold houses. It was all commercial real estate that I sold. But the first sale came to me from a friend, said, I know someone that's trying to sell their house. They're having a hard time. The place is a wreck. The other brokers can't seem to sell it. I went and visited these people that were listing it. The house was a mess. I mean, literally stuff thrown all over the
So you've
place.
got your biggest challenge right out the gates. Like this first, they always say like the first deal is the hardest. You know, the second deal is the second hardest, and the third deal you're on the highway.
Yeah, I sold that house in 3 days. I got a crew, I paid for it. I got a crew to come in and clean the place up.
Mhm.
I had an open house Saturday and Sunday. I put an ad, this house will be sold by Monday. And I got offers and we sold it.
Like a boss.
Just boom, you just,
Yeah.
when you want things to happen, you got to live it, you got to be it, you got to be in it. And that's the way I live my life today. So, and so, but we were talking about the career choice. We were talking about, the brokerage thing. So that's what happened with Shimon. And from there, I got into this mindset of building a real estate investment company, and I started a real estate investment company, and we grew and we had lots of success. And then the shit hit the fan in 2007, 8. And I had just taken in a partner. It's a long story, but that partnership didn't work out. We ended up getting a divorce in the partnership, but I had to then go file for bankruptcy because I had so many deals going. I think I was signed on about $87 million worth of debt at that time.
Yeah,
It was
wild.
huge. It was
Yeah.
wild. It was wild. And the world was crashing. Banks were calling notes. And,
Yep.
long story short is I came out of the bankruptcy, and every bank that worked with me, that allowed me to own the properties, but when I came out of bankruptcy and worked with me, got 100 cents on the dollar. The banks that didn't and foreclosed and took their properties, I have no idea what they did, but all the ones that did got paid 100 cents on the dollar and paid in full. So that was a good feeling for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we are. Where do I pick up that story?
Well, I think, I mean, obviously, millions of like crazy amount of like debt. And I remember, gosh, my bankruptcy was like 50 grand, I think I owed, and it was tormenting me. So just showing the type of way you lived your life and have been living your life, and the capacity that you go at life, and the way you've come into, I mean, you have how many boys, men now?
4 boys.
And how many grandkids?
4 boys and 6 grandchildren.
6 grandkids. And
yeah.
and like all extraordinary men and their wives as well too. And so you've you're in heaven these days. You got all these grandbabies you got access to, and a lot of playtime in there, and contribution. I've sat at your table during the holidays, and there's just
you've experienced that.
I've experienced your leadership, your value on family, and I know you've had challenges there too. So there's been just like with business, the relationship with business, but the relationship with family, and each of us has to, as a parent, you got to watch your kids fall and figure out how to pick themselves up, and you've tried to do the picking up too as well. And so maybe sharing a little bit from the family side of like what you feel comfortable sharing, just about how that's also impacted you, and some of the lessons you've learned, and being a father, and also a friend. And because it's, the businesses, sometimes we can get so focused in the business arena and let the other areas of our life go. And as most men can, like, at best be on top of 1 or 2 categories, but if one of those is out, it not only just makes things wobble, but it can take everything out. And so maybe share a little bit about how you approach some of the other, you share a little bit about even your health and your fitness, and reprioritizing that. We often joke around between us about like the rules when we started to engage with working together. It was like, hey, I'm going to do the workouts, but don't take away my special foods, and my drinks. And I'm like, okay, we can start there. And I'm sure you've had to do that with your relationships as well too. It's like, where do you start when relationships become challenging?
Yeah, that's a great question, Glenn. So part of the work that I've been doing in my life is trying to focus on all 4 areas. You and I have both done this thing with Garrett White, the Wake Up Warrior stuff,
Body
inside
being
of that,
balanced in business. Yeah.
yeah. So inside that program, we learn body, being, balance, and business. We focus on our temple. So today, I still do that. I mean, I go to the gym probably 4 to 5 days a week. I'm not going like I was in to get to that shape of those pictures, when I wish I can maintain this. That to maintain that is just it's a lot of work. You know that. You
Yeah.
know that, to
And
get
everything is
here.
right.
Yeah,
Everything
right. But to get, this
extraordinary.
is a lifestyle choice that you make and that you live by, which is great and it feels great and it's wonderful. But I've made other lifestyle choices that I'm living by today. So I have to give that up for right now. That's just because I want something different. And when I want this, here's the great news. When I want this, I can have that at any time. I just got to do the work to get there, and I know I can have it. I got to get in that mindset, and I know I can have it. But
That's
I'm
for anything.
accepting,
Yeah.
yeah, that's as for anything. Correct. That is the truth. So we know that's real. So we focus on body. Like I said, I maintain a healthy body. I eat well. I exercise every day. I'm spiritual. I do meditations every day. So I do that kind of stuff. On the business side, I feel like I'm very solid and I have no doubt I can have anything in the world that I want in the business side, on the money side. All it is again, deciding on what it is and going after it with the work that I do. The balance side, the family. So this is you mentioned that that we've had our challenges, and we do. And I have 4 sons. And the philosophy that I have right now with them. So what I'm trying to lead and teach by example, live who I am and I can teach them. They're men at this point of their lives. I've taught them all I can teach them as kids. That's, because they're men. I think my youngest is how old? Your age?
Not quite, almost though.
Almost, right? Yeah.
Almost.
I mean,
Almost.
they're all young men, and they're all successful young men out in
Yeah,
the world
incredible.
doing what they do. So I try to teach today, leading by example, answering the call whenever anyone wants me to put my input in. But I'm kind of letting them become themselves, and it's interesting listening to my children saying to me, Dad, I have one of my sons who's saying, let me become the man I need to be. I love you that you are there for me. Let me be. And I'm going, okay. That's a hard thing to do when you're a dad.
Yes.
It's a hard thing to do when you feel in your gut something should go a different way, or they should do something different, or they need to be something different. So we as parents, I think the biggest lesson I can teach or tell anyone is be there in full support of their dreams. I am there in full support of my children's dreams. And anything that I can do to help them live their dreams, I will do. And the rest, I'm going to butt out.
Right. That's a hard one.
It's a hard one. It's a real hard one. But that's kind of where I am with them. I get emotional when I think about it because
I get emotional because I just thinking of Joey, because your son Joey is one of my close friends and also a client of mine too. And and he's taken life like the bull by the horns, and
yeah, absolutely.
And he really inspires me, and Blake, Sean, everybody, like they're so unique and doing really going after life. They're just this extraordinary extension of these truths that you live, just seeing come through. And I get to work with a lot of families in my business, so I work with the parents, then I'm working with the kids, and then I get to just see the parents coming, like the light, the pure, most clean aspect come through their kids, these young adults.
It's amazing. I think I look back at them and I go, oh my God, how have I been so blessed? I take my 4 children. One of them being very successful right now in the crypto and NFT world. He's also involved in the marijuana with Joey,
Yeah.
partner with Joey, and Joey's success in the marijuana world, Blake's success in the IT world. I mean, he's sold one, he's been part of 2 company sales already, and he's 38 years old or something. I mean, just like,
It's wild.
it's unbelievable. And then my son Ryan, who's a cardiologist working at Henry Ford Hospital and has his own little, not side practice, it's a practice that they own, but has his own cardiology thing, and he's now in charge of sports medicine for he's the team cardiologist for the Detroit Tigers and the what is it, their basketball, the Pistons,
Wow.
right?
I didn't know
Yeah.
they did that with the Pistons though. Well, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. He's the team cardiologist. It's like they all just have amazing, amazing success in their life, all 4 of them. And I'm very, very proud. And so like I said, I think I did a great job early on. Now I've got to do a great job letting go.
Yeah, that's
Just like,
yeah, very heartfelt. Just your
yeah.
share, because I can feel all that. Yeah, it's got to be very difficult. I'm not at that stage yet in life with kids and watching them do their thing, and just kind of sit back and observe. And yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of appreciation for this unique time in your life where you're kind of, I kind of refer to you as like, you're like the KFC guy. It's like, yeah, I got this great fried chicken now. I've been meaning to get out there. Like, you are now like rebirthing yourself again. And but it's this part of yourself that like, oh, I'm finally unleashing this thing. That's been like waiting, patiently waiting, and
right.
and I remember sitting periods with you where you just were like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I think I'm done. I think I'm I remember that conversation with you. I think I'm an old man now, and I've had my, these are my battle scars.
It was a story I was telling myself. It's true. For a long time, I tried to sit back and not do anything. I used to tell myself that story. I've worked all my life. I'm working since I'm 15 years old. I've been working. Don't I deserve some time off? Don't I deserve to go play golf every day with my buddies? Don't I deserve to, and I do deserve that.
Yeah.
If that's what I want. If that's what I want. I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried it.
You do
I
play a lot of golf. You're a pretty good golfer.
every day. And I enjoyed it. It's not that I don't enjoy playing golf. I do. I love it. I love it more now, though, playing it 2, maybe 3 days a week, rather than playing it 5, maybe 6 days a week. I'm enjoying it now, cutting it way back. And I'm enjoying it because I'm doing something else that's really fulfilling. I'm loving these classes that I'm starting to do, the one with you and the one with my other students. I'm loving them. And I'm trying to figure out what this is going to be for me. I don't even know yet.
Just following it.
Maybe I'm following it. That's part of what this podcast is, right? Yeah. Hopefully we announce to the world through you, this is what I'm doing, people, well, so you can reach out to me.
Well, Jack, how would people get a hold of you to learn more, and where's the best place to start?
I don't have a website yet. I don't have any info on anywhere other than sharing my email with everyone. Okay. And my number. I mean, let's share my email. If that's okay to do.
Yeah, go ahead and give your email out to everybody.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
It's just Jack at MYIPS.com. My IPS. Mary, Yellow, India, Peter, Sam.com. Jack at my IPS.
I love it. I love that. That's how to get a hold, in this modern day age. Like, hey, that's my brick and mortar right now. Like, just this is how you get a hold of me. And I'm sure it'll evolve to a shiny, fancy website and all the videos and podcasts and things you see out there. But for right now, like, this is, you're that guy from New York who's like, hey, like, just come in through the kitchen.
That's it. Exactly. I love it. You're always welcome that's my home. You're welcome in my home. So
I've always experienced
come and reach out. Yeah.
Well, Jack, I just want to say thank you for sitting with us here and sharing a bit of your life, and we'll invite you back again for another conversation because this was so fun. And I just want to just thank everybody for listening. Hopefully, I took a bunch of notes today. Hopefully, there's a few nuggets of wisdom there to take. And yeah, just hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week. It's a great way to start get this week rolling. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for
Yeah.
listening, and Glenn, thank you for inviting me on and having me here. I so appreciate it.
Too as
Yeah,
well.
this was fun.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, we'll see you soon, and have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.